The Galactic Empire spanned countless star systems, its influence reaching deep into the far corners of the cosmos. This vast interstellar civilization had long considered itself the pinnacle of military might, with its legions of elite special forces operatives standing as an unstoppable force. So when news spread of a backwater planet called Earth and its ragtag band of human warriors, the galactic elite could scarcely contain their amusement. Primitive and uncivilized were among the kinder terms used by the seasoned alien commandos to describe the special forces units of Earth. Their tactics were seen as crude and outdated, their weapons and technology woefully inferior to the advanced armaments wielded by the Empire's finest. The humans were dismissed as little more than curiosities, impressive in their tenacity, perhaps, but ultimately no match for the disciplined and battle-hardened alien soldiers. It was within this atmosphere of condescension and derision that Sergeant James Hawkins and his SAS team prepared for their fateful mission. Summoned to a remote outpost on the edge of the Empire's territory, the humans were tasked with a covert extraction operation deep within enemy lines. The stakes were high, and the odds stacked against them, but Hawkins and his men were determined to prove their worth. As the small transport ship carrying the SAS team approached the target zone, the veteran alien commandos watched with a mixture of amusement and disdain. Their counterparts from Earth, with their outdated gear and seemingly haphazard approach, were hardly worthy of the Empire's attention. Yet there was a subtle intensity in the humans' bearing that gave the alien soldiers pause. "This should be entertaining," sneered one of the Galactic officers, a battle-scarred veteran of countless campaigns. "Let's see how long these special forces of theirs last against our elite troops." The transport ship touched down amidst the rugged alien terrain, and the SAS team swiftly disembarked, weapons at the ready. Sergeant Hawkins quickly surveyed the surrounding area, his keen eyes picking up on the slightest irregularities that might indicate the presence of the enemy. Behind him, his team moved with a practiced fluidity, each member instinctively covering the other's blind spots. As they advanced deeper into the hostile environment, the humans encountered sporadic pockets of resistance, small patrols of alien soldiers who were quickly and efficiently neutralized. The Galactic commandos, observing from a safe distance, were taken aback by the SAS team's flawless coordination and the brutal efficiency of their strikes. "Impossible," muttered one of the officers, his eyes narrowing as he watched the humans move with such lethal precision. "They should not be able to outmaneuver our best troops like this." But the true test was yet to come. Sergeant Hawkins knew that the real challenge lay ahead, where the enemy would be waiting in force, ready to unleash the full might of the Empire's Special Operations Division. As the team approached the target building, the air grew thick with tension, and the sound of weapons fire echoed through the rugged ravine. The Galactic commandos, their curiosity piqued, moved in closer to observe the unfolding battle. What they witnessed in the next few minutes would shatter their preconceptions about the capabilities of the human warriors forever. The SAS team moved with a fluid grace, their weapons shattering the silence with deadly precision. Hawkins and his men seamlessly covered each other's flanks, anticipating the enemy's movements with uncanny accuracy. They wove through the hail of alien firepower, dodging and weaving, their shots finding their mark with startling consistency. The Galactic commandos, once so certain of their superiority, could only watch in stunned disbelief as the human team swiftly neutralized the enemy forces and secured the target. As the dust settled, Sergeant Hawkins and his men regrouped, their uniforms singed and their faces grim, but their eyes alight with a triumphant gleam. The Empire's elite had been humbled, their dominance challenged by a group of warriors they had once dismissed as nothing more than curiosities. This was no mere skirmish, but a stark reminder that the humans of Earth were a force to be reckoned with, a realization that would soon ripple through the halls of power within the Galactic Empire. In the days following the SAS team's resounding victory, news of their exploits spread like wildfire through the Galactic Empire. The once dismissive alien commandos were now forced to reevaluate their perceptions of the human warriors. casting nervous glances at their own comrades as they contemplated the implications of this unexpected development. Sergeant James Hawkins and his team were quickly ushered to the Empire's capital, where they were met with a curious mixture of awe, resentment, and suspicion. The ruling council, once so confident in their military supremacy, now found themselves grappling with the unsettling reality that their dominance was not as absolute as they had believed. Seated at the head of the council was Grand Admiral Xyloth, a seasoned veteran who had commanded the Empire's elite forces for countless campaigns. His piercing gaze fell upon the human soldiers, his expression unreadable as he studied them with a detached curiosity. "So," Xyloth began, his voice tinged with a hint of disdain, "these are the vaunted special forces from the backwater planet of Earth. Tell me, Sergeant Hawkins, what makes you and your men think you can stand against the might of the Galactic Empire?" Hawkins met the Admiral's gaze unflinchingly, his years of experience in high-pressure situations serving him well. "Sir, our training and tactics may be different from your own, but we have faced and overcome challenges that would test the mettle of any soldier, regardless of their origin." The Admiral's lips twitched into the semblance of a smile, his eyes narrowing as he considered the surgeon's words. Bold words, human, but words are easily spoken. If you truly believe your team is worthy of our attention, then prove it. With a wave of his hand, Xyloth summoned a team of the Empire's elite commandos, their battle-scarred faces betraying a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "You will face my best operatives in a series of tests, trials that will push the limits of your so-called special forces capabilities. Succeed, and you will have earned our respect. Fail, and you will be sent back to your insignificant little planet, never to be heard from again." Sergeant Hawkins glanced back at his team, his gaze meeting the steely eyes of Captain Michael Johnson, his second in command. Without a word, the two men reached a silent understanding, their resolve hardening in the face of this new challenge. "We accept your terms, Admiral," Hawkins declared, his voice firm and unwavering. "My team is ready to face whatever trials you have in store for us." The alien commandos, their confidence buoyed by the apparent arrogance of their human counterparts, gathered behind Xyloth, their lips curling into predatory grins. The stage was set for a clash of military prowess, a test that would determine the true mettle of Earth's special forces. In the days that followed, the SAS team was put through a grueling series of simulations and challenges, each one designed to push the limits of their skills and endurance. From navigating treacherous terrain to neutralizing heavily fortified enemy positions, the humans were forced to adapt and innovate in the face of increasingly daunting obstacles. Captain Johnson, in particular, stood out among the team, his unorthodox tactics and keen tactical instincts earning him the begrudging respect of the alien commandos. Time and again, he would lead his team through seemingly impossible scenarios, defying the expectations of their galactic rivals. As the tests progressed, the tide began to turn, and the galactic elite found themselves increasingly unnerved by the human team's performance. Their preconceptions about the primitive nature of Earth's special forces were being shattered, replaced by a growing sense of unease and uncertainty. Sergeant Hawkins, his face etched with the strain of the arduous challenges, couldn't help but feel a glimmer of satisfaction as he witnessed the subtle shifts in the alien commandos' demeanor. They were no longer the arrogant, dismissive soldiers who had first confronted the SAS team. Now, they were wary, their confidence shaken by the unexpected capabilities of the human warriors. The final showdown loomed on the horizon, and Hawkins knew that this was the moment of truth, the chance for Earth's special forces to prove their worth on the grandest of stages. With his team at his side, he steeled himself for the ultimate test, determined to shatter the myth of the Galactic Empire's invincibility once and for all. The final challenge unfolded in a sprawling high-tech training facility at the heart of the Galactic Empire's capital. Sergeant Hawkins and his SAS team, their nerves steeled by the grueling trials they had already endured, stood opposite their alien counterparts, the best of the best that the Empire had to offer. Grand Admiral Zoloth presided over the proceedings, his cold, calculating gaze sweeping over the assembled soldiers. "Today we will witness the true measure of your skills, humans," he declared, his voice dripping with a barely concealed contempt. "This simulation will test your ability to adapt, strategize, and dominate in the face of overwhelming odds. Fail, and you will be sent back to your insignificant planet in disgrace." As the simulation began, Hawkins and his team immediately found themselves in the midst of a chaotic and fluid battlefield. Alien commandos swarmed around them, their advanced weaponry and superior numbers seemingly overwhelming the human soldiers. But Sergeant Hawkins and his men had faced adversity before, and they were not about to be cowed by the Empire's finest. Captain Johnson, his keen instincts honed by years of experience, quickly took charge, guiding his team through the labyrinthine terrain with a tactical precision that left the alien commandos stumbling in their wake. Time and again, the humans would anticipate the enemy's movements, outmaneuvering and outgunning their galactic counterparts with a fluidity that was nothing short of breathtaking. The alien soldiers, once so confident in their superiority, found themselves increasingly unnerved by the human team's performance. Their well-rehearsed tactics and advanced technology seemed to falter in the face of the SAS team's unconventional approach, and the frustration began to mount on the faces of the Galactic commandos. Grand Admiral Zoloth, his brow furrowed in a deep frown, watched the simulation unfold with growing unease. The humans, whom he had once dismissed as primitive and inferior, were systematically dismantling his elite forces, their teamwork and adaptability proving to be a formidable asset. As the final moments of the simulation ticked away, the SAS team found themselves facing the last bastion of the enemy's defenses, a heavily fortified position guarded by the most seasoned of the Galactic commandos. Sergeant Hawkins, his muscles aching from the strain of the intense battle, turned to his comrades, his gaze meeting that of Captain Johnson. "This is it, men," Hawkins said, his voice low but resolute. "We've come this far, and we're not about to let these alien bastards beat us. On my mark, we move in and take that position." "Understood." The SAS team responded with a quiet determination, their weapons at the ready as they prepared to make their final push. Hawkins took a deep breath, his finger poised on the trigger, and then the simulation came to a sudden and decisive halt, the holographic battlefield flickering and fading away as the stunned alien commandos stared in disbelief. Sergeant Hawkins and his team had emerged victorious, their tactics and teamwork proving to be the deciding factor in the face of the Empire's most elite forces. Grand Admiral Zoloth, his expression unreadable, slowly rose from his seat, his gaze fixed upon the human soldiers. For a moment, the air was thick with tension, as the assembled Galactic officers waited with bated breath for the Admiral's verdict. "Impressive," Zoloth finally uttered, his voice tinged with a grudging respect. "You and your team have exceeded all of my expectations, Sergeant Hawkins. It would seem that we have underestimated the capabilities of Earth's special forces." The Admiral paused, his eyes sweeping over the SAS team, who stood tall and proud, their faces etched with the triumph of their hard-won victory. "As promised, you have earned our respect. The Galactic Empire would be honored to welcome you and your team as allies in our ongoing efforts to maintain order and stability throughout the galaxy." Hawkins, his grip tightening on his weapon, felt a surge of pride and accomplishment. They had done it. They had proven the worth of Earth's special forces, shattering the myth of the Empire's invincibility in the process. But as he glanced at his team, he knew that their work was far from over. The Galactic Empire, once so dismissive of their capabilities, now saw them as a potential threat, and the humans would need to be prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. News of the SAS team's triumph over the Galactic Empire's elite commandos spread like wildfire through the vast interstellar civilization, igniting a firestorm of reactions that reverberated from the highest echelons of power to the most remote outposts on the Empire's periphery. For the human soldiers, the victory was a resounding validation of their skills and training, a testament to the relentless determination and adaptability that had become the hallmarks of Earth's special forces. But for the galactic elite, this unexpected development posed a profound challenge to the very foundations of their military dominance. Within the grand halls of the Imperial Palace, the members of the ruling council found themselves embroiled in heated debates, their once unshakable confidence now tinged with a growing sense of unease and uncertainty. Grand Admiral Xyloth, the architect of the trials that had ultimately seen the human team emerge victorious, found himself the subject of intense scrutiny and criticism. "How could you have allowed this to happen, Xyloth?" snarled one of the council members, his face contorted with a mixture of anger and fear. "These humans, these primitives, have dared to humiliate the might of the Galactic Empire. They must be dealt with swiftly and decisively, before they become a threat to our very existence." Xyloth, his expression stoic, held up a hand to silence the outburst. "I understand your concerns, but we must not act rashly. These humans have proven their worth, and it would be unwise to dismiss them as mere curiosities any longer." "Unwise?" The council member spat, his eyes narrowing. "They are a liability, Xyloth, a thorn in the side of our empire that must be removed before they can spread their influence to other worlds. I demand that you deploy our best troops to eliminate them, once and for all." The Admiral's gaze hardened, his voice cutting through the heated debate. "That would be a grave mistake, one that could have far-reaching consequences. The humans have earned our respect, and to attack them now would be a violation of the trust we have built. No, we must find a more diplomatic solution to this delicate situation." Sensing the tension in the room, Xyloth knew that time was of the essence. He had to act quickly to prevent the Council from making a decision that could irreparably damage the Empire's relationship with Earth. Clearing his throat, he spoke with a renewed sense of purpose. "I propose that we invite the human team to the capital to engage in further discussions and negotiations. Perhaps we can find a way to forge an alliance, one that would benefit both our civilizations and strengthen the Galactic Empire's position in the galaxy." The council members exchanged wary glances, the weight of Xyloth's words hanging in the air. After a moment of tense deliberation, they begrudgingly agreed to the Admiral's proposal, recognizing the potential strategic advantages of such an alliance. While the ruling council debated the fate of the human soldiers, Captain Michael Johnson and his SAS team found themselves once again summoned to the heart of the Galactic Empire. This time, however, the atmosphere was markedly different. The Galactic commandos who had once regarded them with disdain now eyed them with a mixture of curiosity and cautious respect. As Sergeant Hawkins and his men disembarked from the transport ship, they were greeted by a contingent of the Empire's finest, led by none other than Grand Admiral Xyloth himself. The veteran officer approached them, his expression unreadable, and extended his hand in a gesture of goodwill. "Welcome, Sergeant Hawkins, and to your team as well," Xyloth said, his voice measured and diplomatic. "The Galactic Empire has much to discuss with you, and we hope that we can find a way to forge a mutually beneficial alliance." Hawkins, his brow furrowed in cautious contemplation, clasped the Admiral's hand, a small but decisive nod signaling his willingness to engage in the forthcoming negotiations. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but the opportunity to shape the future relationship between Earth and the Galactic Empire was one that he and his team could not afford to pass up. As they followed Xyloth into the heart of the Imperial capital, the SAS operatives couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation. They had proven their worth on the battlefield, but now they would have to navigate the complex web of politics and diplomacy that governed the Galactic Empire. The stakes had never been higher, and the fate of their homeworld hung in the balance. As the SAS team stepped into the grand halls of the Galactic Empire's military command, the weight of their mission bore down upon them like a heavy mantle. They had come a long way, from being dismissed as mere curiosities to earning the begrudging respect of the Empire's finest commandos. Now they stood poised to embark on an even greater challenge, navigating the complex web of politics and diplomacy that governed the interstellar civilization. Sergeant James Hawkins, his keen eyes scanning the ornate surroundings, felt a surge of anticipation mingled with trepidation. This was uncharted territory for the seasoned SAS Operative, where the rules of engagement were far more nuanced and the stakes infinitely higher. At the head of the chamber stood Grand Admiral Zylov, his imposing presence commanding the attention of all who entered. Beside him, a contingent of the Empire's most prestigious military leaders and diplomats observed the proceedings with a critical eye, their expressions betraying a mixture of curiosity and unease. "Welcome, Sergeant Hawkins, and to your team as well," Zylov began, his voice smooth and measured. "The Galactic Empire has much to discuss with you, and we hope that we can find a way to forge a mutually beneficial alliance." Hawkins stepped forward, his posture confident yet respectful. "Admiral Zylov, my team and I are honored to be here. We are ready to engage in these negotiations and to do whatever it takes to build a strong relationship between our peoples." The Admiral's lips curved into a slight smile, the barest hint of approval flickering in his gaze. "Excellent. Then let us begin." He turned to his compatriots, gesturing for them to take their seats around the ornate conference table. "As you all know, the human special forces have proven their worth in the trials we have set before them. Their skills and adaptability have exceeded our expectations, and we believe that forging an alliance with them could bring significant strategic advantages to the Galactic Empire." One of the diplomats, a shrewd-looking alien with piercing eyes, leaned forward, his expression skeptical. "And what, exactly, do these humans have to offer that would be of value to us? Their technology is primitive, their resources limited. Why should we risk forming an alliance with them?" Zylov held up a hand, silencing the diplomat with a stern look. "That is precisely why we are here today, to explore the potential benefits of such an alliance. These human warriors have demonstrated capabilities that our own elite forces have struggled to match. Their tactics, their ingenuity, and their unwavering determination are assets that could prove invaluable in the challenges we face." Captain Michael Johnson, who had remained silent throughout the initial exchange, now spoke up, his voice calm and assured. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council, my team and I are ready to share our knowledge and skills, to collaborate with you in ways that could strengthen the Empire's position in the galaxy. We may come from a humble planet, but we have faced adversity and overcome challenges that have forged us into formidable soldiers. All we ask is the opportunity to prove our worth, to demonstrate how our unique perspectives and capabilities can complement your own." The diplomats and military leaders exchanged skeptical glances, the weight of Johnson's words hanging in the air. Zylov, sensing the need to sway the council, leaned forward, his gaze intense. "I believe that Captain Johnson and his team have much to offer. Their success in our trials has already proven their mettle, and I believe that with the right integration and support, they could become invaluable assets to the Galactic Empire." He paused, his eyes sweeping over the assembled council members. "I propose that we put them through a series of additional challenges to further test the depth of their capabilities and to determine how best we can leverage their unique skills." The council members murmured in contemplation, their expressions a mix of reluctance and reluctant curiosity. After a tense moment of deliberation, they nodded in agreement, their decision made. "Very well, Admiral Zylov," one of the diplomats declared, her tone laced with a hint of resignation. "We will proceed with your proposal. Let us see if these humans truly have what it takes to earn a place within the Galactic Empire." Sergeant Hawkins, his gaze meeting that of Captain Johnson, felt a surge of determination coursing through his veins. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but they were ready to face them head-on, confident in their abilities and resolute in their desire to forge a lasting alliance between Earth and the Galactic Empire. In the days that followed, the SAS team found themselves immersed in a series of grueling challenges, each one designed to push the limits of their skills and adaptability. The members of the Galactic Council, their initial skepticism gradually giving way to a cautious curiosity, observed the proceedings with keen eyes. their expressions betraying a growing sense of respect for the human warriors. Sergeant James Hawkins and his team navigated the simulated battlefields with a fluidity that left the Empire's elite commandos struggling to keep up. Time and again, they demonstrated their ability to think outside the box, employing unconventional tactics that caught their alien counterparts off guard. But it was Captain Michael Johnson who truly shone in these trials, his keen tactical instincts and innovative problem-solving skills earning him the begrudging admiration of the Galactic officers. Where the other human soldiers relied on their training and experience, Johnson seemed to possess an almost intuitive grasp of the ever-changing dynamics of the battlefield, his decisions driven by a keen analytical mind and an unorthodox approach to warfare. As the simulations grew increasingly complex, the SAS team found themselves facing off against some of the Galactic Empire's most seasoned and capable soldiers. The stakes were high, with the humans' very place within the Empire's hierarchy hanging in the balance. But Hawkins and his men remained undaunted, their eyes alight with a determined focus that belied the physical and mental strain of the arduous challenges. One by one, the human team excelled in the grueling tests, showcasing their superior marksmanship, tactical awareness, and ability to improvise under intense pressure. The Galactic officers, once so dismissive of the primitive Earth warriors, found themselves increasingly unnerved by the SAS team's performance, their preconceptions about the humans' capabilities crumbling in the face of such remarkable displays of skill and ingenuity. Captain Johnson, in particular, continued to stand out, his unique brand of leadership and problem-solving becoming a source of both fascination and frustration for the alien commanders. Time and again, he would devise ingenious solutions to seemingly insurmountable challenges, his unconventional approach confounding the expectations of the Empire's elite. As the final showdown loomed on the horizon, the tension within the Galactic Council's chambers grew palpable. The members, their initial reservations now tempered by a growing sense of respect for the human team, found themselves divided on the matter of how to proceed. These humans have proven themselves to be more than mere curiosities, one of the diplomats conceded, his voice tinged with reluctant admiration. Their skills and adaptability are indeed remarkable. Perhaps we have been too quick to dismiss them in the past. Another council member, his brow furrowed in a deep frown, shook his head vehemently. Remarkable or not, we cannot afford to let these outsiders gain a foothold within the Galactic Empire. They are a potential threat, a wild card that could upset the delicate balance of power we have maintained for centuries. Grand Admiral Zyloff, his expression unreadable, raised a hand to silence the dissenting voices. Gentlemen, we must not be hasty in our judgment. These humans have earned the right to prove their worth, and I believe that with the proper integration and support, they could become valuable assets to our cause. The council members exchanged wary glances, the weight of Zyloff's words settling over the chamber like a heavy shroud. After a tense moment of deliberation, they'd reluctantly agreed to allow the final challenge to proceed, their decision tinged with a mixture of cautious optimism and lingering unease. As Sergeant Hawkins and his team prepared for the ultimate test, they knew that the stakes had never been higher. The Galactic Empire's acceptance, or rejection, would not only determine their own fate, but potentially the future of their entire planet. With a shared steely resolve, they steeled themselves for the final confrontation, determined to prove once and for all that the human spirit could not be broken, even in the face of the most formidable of adversaries. The final challenge unfolded in a vast, high-tech arena at the heart of the Galactic Empire's military complex. Sergeant James Hawkins and his SAS team stood poised, their weapons at the ready, as they faced off against the Empire's most elite commandos, a unit that had been handpicked to test the limits of the humans' capabilities. The tension in the air was palpable, the weight of the occasion pressing down upon the shoulders of the assembled soldiers. The Galactic Council, their expressions a mix of curiosity and trepidation, observed the proceedings from an elevated viewing platform, their fate as much on the line as that of the human warriors. Grand Admiral Zyloff, his imposing figure commanding the attention of all present, stepped forward, his voice echoing through the chamber. Today, we will witness the ultimate test of the human special forces. Sergeant Hawkins, your team will face our most seasoned and battle-hardened commandos in a simulation that will push the limits of your skills and adaptability. Hawkins, his gaze unwavering, gave a curt nod in acknowledgement. My team is ready, Admiral. We will not disappoint. As the simulation began, the SAS operatives found themselves plunged into a chaotic and ever-changing battlefield, the terrain and enemy positions shifting with a dizzying unpredictability. The Galactic commandos, their advanced weaponry and superior numbers, seemingly overwhelming the human forces, surged forward with a relentless determination. But Sergeant Hawkins and his team were no strangers to adversity. Guided by the strategic brilliance of Captain Michael Johnson, they wove through the hail of alien firepower, their movements fluid and coordinated. Time and again, they anticipated the enemy's maneuvers, neutralizing threats with a ruthless efficiency that left the Galactic commandos reeling. The alien soldiers, once so confident in their superiority, found themselves increasingly unnerved by the human team's performance. Their well-rehearsed tactics, honed over countless campaigns, seemed to falter in the face of the SAS operatives' unconventional approach. Frustration and confusion began to creep into their expressions, their initial bravado gradually giving way to a growing sense of unease. As the simulation reached its climactic stage, the human team found themselves facing the last bastion of the enemy's defenses, a heavily fortified position guarded by the most seasoned of the Galactic commandos. Sergeant Hawkins, his muscles aching from the strain of the intense battle, turned to his comrades, his gaze meeting that of Captain Johnson. "This is it, men," Hawkins said, his voice low but resolute. "We've come this far, and we're not about to let these alien bastards beat us. On my mark, we move in and take that position." "Understood." The SAS team responded with a quiet determination, their weapons at the ready as they prepared to make their final push. Hawkins took a deep breath, his finger poised on the trigger, and then the simulation came to a sudden and decisive halt, the holographic battlefield flickering and fading away as the stunned Galactic commandos stared in disbelief. Sergeant Hawkins and his team had emerged victorious, their tactics and teamwork proving to be the deciding factor in the face of the Empire's most elite forces. A hush fell over the viewing platform, the members of the Galactic Council exchanging wary glances as they processed the implications of this stunning outcome. Grand Admiral Zyloff, his expression unreadable, slowly rose from his seat, his gaze fixed upon the human soldiers. For a moment, the air was thick with tension, as the assembled officers waited with bated breath for the Admiral's verdict. Then, to the surprise of all present, Zyloff's lips curved into a rare, approving smile. "Impressive," the veteran officer declared, his voice tinged with a grudging respect. "You and your team have exceeded all of my expectations, Sergeant Hawkins. It would seem that we have underestimated the capabilities of Earth's special forces." Hawkins, his grip tightening on his weapon, felt a surge of pride and accomplishment. They had done it. They had proven the worth of their training and skills, shattering the myth of the Galactic Empire's invincibility in the process. "As promised, you have earned our respect," Zyloff continued, his gaze sweeping over the human warriors. "The Galactic Empire would be honored to welcome you and your team as allies in our ongoing efforts to maintain order and stability throughout the galaxy." The council members, their initial skepticism now tempered by a growing sense of awe and admiration, nodded in agreement, their expressions reflecting the weight of this momentous decision. Sergeant Hawkins, his heart racing, knew that this was a pivotal moment, not just for his team, but for the entire planet of Earth. The Galactic Empire, once so dismissive of their capabilities, now saw them as valuable assets, and the humans would need to be prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead as they forged this new alliance. In the aftermath of the SAS team's resounding triumph, the Galactic Empire found itself grappling with a profound shift in the balance of power within the vast interstellar civilization. The human warriors, once dismissed as primitive curiosities, had shattered the myth of the Empire's military invincibility, earning the grudging respect and admiration of the galactic elite. As Sergeant James Hawkins and his team stepped out into the bustling streets of the Imperial capital, they could feel the weight of their accomplishment bearing down upon them. They had not only proven the worth of Earth's special forces, but had also paved the way for a new era of cooperation and understanding between their homeworld and the Galactic Empire. Grand Admiral Zyloff, the architect of the trials that had ultimately seen the humans emerge victorious, approached the SAS team with a rare, approving smile. "Sergeant Hawkins, your team has exceeded all of our expectations. The Galactic Empire is honored to welcome you as our allies in the ongoing pursuit of peace and stability throughout the galaxy." Hawkins, his expression a mix of pride and trepidation, clasped the Admiral's hand firmly. "Admiral Zyloff, my team and I are grateful for this opportunity. We stand ready to lend our skills and expertise in service of the Empire's noble goals." As the two men exchanged pleasantries, Captain Michael Johnson, ever the keen observer, couldn't help but notice the subtle shifts in the demeanor of the surrounding galactic commandos. Gone was the overt disdain and dismissiveness that had once characterized their interactions with the human warriors. In its place, a cautious respect had taken root, tinged with an undercurrent of unease. It was clear that the Galactic Empire was grappling with the implications of this newfound alliance, their once unshakable confidence now tempered by the realization that the humans were not mere pawns to be manipulated, but formidable allies whose potential influence could no longer be ignored. In the days that followed, the SAS team found themselves immersed in a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings and strategic planning sessions, their expertise and perspectives eagerly sought by the Empire's finest military minds. Sergeant Hawkins, his years of experience guiding him, navigated the complex political landscape with a deft hand, forging alliances and brokering agreements that would strengthen the bonds between Earth and the Galactic Empire. But even as the humans made steady progress in their integration into the Imperial hierarchy, they could not ignore the underlying tensions that simmered beneath the surface. Pockets of resentment and suspicion still lingered, with some galactic officers viewing the SAS team as a potential threat to the Empire's long-standing dominance. Captain Johnson, ever the astute strategist, recognized the need to tread carefully, to forge relationships and build trust with their new allies. He knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, and that the humans would need to constantly prove their worth and loyalty to the Galactic Empire. As the SAS team settled into their new roles, Sergeant Hawkins found himself contemplating the broader implications of their triumph. The victory had not only elevated the status of Earth's special forces, but had also opened up avenues for greater cooperation and exchange between the two civilizations. The potential benefits were vast, from technological advancements to the sharing of cultural and scientific knowledge. Yet Hawkins also recognized the inherent risks. The Galactic Empire, once so confident in its military superiority, would not relinquish its grip on power easily. The humans would need to navigate the complex web of politics and diplomacy with the utmost care, lest they inadvertently spark a conflict that could have devastating consequences for their homeworld. As the SAS team prepared to embark on their first joint mission with their new galactic allies, Hawkins turned to his comrades, his gaze sweeping over their faces with a mixture of pride and trepidation. "Men, we've come a long way. We've proven our worth, not just to the Galactic Empire, but to ourselves. Now we stand on the cusp of a new era, one that will test the limits of our skills and our determination. But I have no doubt that we are up to the challenge. Together, we will forge a lasting alliance that will benefit our planet and the entire galaxy." The SAS team responded with a quiet determination, their eyes alight with a sense of purpose and renewed vigor. They had faced daunting odds and emerged victorious, and now they were prepared to tackle the next phase of their mission, confident in the knowledge that they had what it took to shape the future of their worlds.